Good morning. It is morning, early morning. I was going to go for a walk this morning, part of my, self-care and maintaining my resiliency. And there's a little bit of snow on the ground, which means I cannot see the ice. So I thought instead of doing that, I'm going to come here and share with you some information and tips on resiliency. But first, I want to start with a short story. So for those who don't know me, my name is Tammy Dunnett, and I am the CEO and founder of Relationship Revolution, where we are changing the way relationship is done one conversation at a time. And today's conversation happens to do with us. Let me start with sharing what happened Saturday at the airport. Now, it's been a long 2 years, and people's ability to adapt, stay flexible, adjust to the changes and the stressors that come at them with relative ease is starting to show signs of wear and tear. And a lot of people are cresting out of that resiliency zone. So 9:30 at night, after a 6-hour long flight, a long day waiting to get home, and of course you get off the airplane and random selection, probably like 3/4 of the plane, randomly selected to get the PCR test. And what's happening in the lineup right away, immediately upon having become aware that they are being randomly selected, is there's grumblings, right? Why did I just pay $100 to have my test done yesterday if I have to get tested today? Of course, there's some profanities about the effing government and how they can't get their effing stuff together. And there are also conversations about how they make me feel so angry, becoming powerless and become a victim in this situation. And of course, there's the whole conversations around this is an infringement on my rights. I have a passport that says I can run freely throughout this country, and this is infringing my rights. So you get a sense of the kind of mood people are in as they get selected for this random test. Now, it's not just the test, obviously. The test is meaning a whole lot more than just an inconvenience in time. It's the isolation afterwards, the quarantining after while you wait for your test, and the lack of being able to go to work. And there's a lot of ramifications with this. But as I observed the conversations that were happening and the energy, there was this one fellow who stood out a little bit more. And that's because he was really quite vocal and annoyed. I would say angry, but he wasn't quite yelling, but he was definitely up there and arguing with every single staff member he was coming across and, taking the paperwork and saying, where does it say that I have to do this test here? Give me a test and I'll go home. Creating a lot of chaos and drama. And while I was watching all of this unfold and how that energy, and we know emotions are contagious, giving others the freedom to be angry and annoyed, I witnessed families cussing out their parents. It was just unbelievable. And I couldn't help but think, where is their resilience? And how did they get to this point where it has been breached? So we have this thing called the resilience zone. And just imagine it like a wave coming up and down and up and down. And we ride the changes in life fairly easily, knowing that we're bringing our best selves to most of these little and big inconveniences. But as we ride this wave, if we're not able to bring it back down into calm, so it's like our sympathetic nervous system is activated, we're in fight, we need to come back down into flight, rest and digest, parasympathetic. So we need to have this balance of energy throughout the day. It's normal. We all have it. But if they're not able to bring it back down, then we're cresting and we're actually going to breach the zone and we're now in stress, right? So we're not able to adapt and be flexible anymore. And so I wanted to share with you a few tips today that you can use if you think you might be at that spot, right? So if you're at work today or if you're at home today and you're at that point where you're about to blow, you feel like there's nothing left, there's no other options, but I'm going to lose my shit. I want to just help you a little bit today and then encourage you to join me on Thursday for a resiliency training where we go in a little bit deeper into some strategies to support you. But the first thing is, if you are at that stage where you feel you have crested that zone and you're now past how you would normally want to react and be seen, then take a step back. The first measure is to just give yourself some space between the stressor and yourself, essentially, and tap into your support network or go for a walk, have a drink of water. Just give yourself that breather. Let things settle so that we can put the issue into perspective and bring it back into our resilience zone, where we can tap into our strengths and our knowledge and our skill set to tackle the issue with success. All right, so that's the first thing I want you to know, is that anytime you feel like you are at a risk of losing your cool, don't let anybody take you off your game. Nobody makes you feel a certain way. These are all choices in life. And so when you're at that spot, choose to take a break. Self-impose a pause on yourself. The second thing is, I want you to remember that we all get to choose how we experience life. Right? So as I was listening to people in line and they were grumbling and grumpy and they make me feel so mad. Being aware that you choose the feeling that you're going to own as you walk through this journey. You're still walking through it. You're going to stand in this line for half an hour. You're going to get slobbed. You're going to have to isolate. The experience doesn't change, but how you move through it is completely up to you. So stop looking through life with the victim lens and put on those survivor ones and choose how you want to show up. And then the third tip I want to share with you, and this is one we often talk about when it comes to resilience, is self-care in general, preventative and curative, right? So it's about, how are you sleeping? Are you drinking enough? As soon as your body's dehydrated, it's already too late. Nutrition. We need to make sure our body is in its optimal. And by this, the brain is really critical in our resiliency. And so making sure you're taking care of yourself, because if you're already upwards at the high part of this peak and it's a struggle to come back down, we're not focusing on our own selves. We tend to be outwardly focused, blame-centered and angry and frustrated, and we're not thinking about taking care of ourselves. So I wanted to share that with you today and invite you to join me Thursday. Actually, we're doing a 2-hour training on resiliency where we're going to dive in deeper and come up with your own resiliency plan. We're going to do an assessment of where you're at with several tools to help you build your resiliency. And then you're going to create your own personalized plan so that when you leave, you know the strategies that you want to work on and focus on to help you stay in the zone where you can ride these waves like a surfer. You can just go to tammydunnett.com and you can register at that site, or tammydunnett.com/resilience will take you right to the page. And I hope to see you there on Thursday, 1 till 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And we're going to help you build your resiliency plan. Now, I do focus on people who are struggling. Perhaps it's post-trauma, traumatic event, workplace bullying. And so when you come to this is going to be about empowering you to take choices, to make decisions that support you. All right. So it's really focused on building your resiliency so that you can get back into that zone where you can adjust and be flexible and adapt to the changes without it really causing much wear and tear on your soul. Awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you on Thursday.